My name is Farshad Kholghi. It's a Danish version of it. My name is in Iranian Farshad Kholghi. But it takes Danes a couple of years to learn how to pronounce it, so I changed it a little. See, I am a free citizen of the world. I believe in freedom. I believe in the freedom of speech. I love my freedom, which was granted to me by my parents, to go against gravity and flee from the fundamentalist Iran 25 years ago. Because they were Baha'is. And Baha'i religion is not tolerated in Iran because of the fundamentalists. I shall never forget the fear and the terror we felt after the birth of the Islamic State in 1979. In Paris, under an apple tree, sat this old man, soft-spoken and quiet, but with a sharp glance in his eyes. He promised freedom and tolerance. He promised a future of growth and development. He seduced many in the West and East. His name was Khomeini. The victory of the revolution was a fact. The Shah had left the country. All political parties had been fighting side by side, sharing a common aim and hope. A naive hope, you might say now. That hope was democracy, real freedom, where the voice of the people could be heard. By naive and babbling intellectuals, Khomeini was appointed the leader of the revolution. But Khomeini brought with him fundamentalism, terror, war, death, and destruction. And last but not least, hatred. Non-Islamic books were to be burned. Voices critical of Islam were silenced. Such voices had been plentiful in the long history of Iran. I'll never forget the faces of my friends as they, under the influence of mass manipulation and religious brainwashing, went off into the war, believing they would arrive in paradise. In the name of God, you must kill the infidels. In the name of God, you shall reach martyrdom. Each family was awarded a fridge for each martyr they had contributed. Many of my friends were killed. Their life was not worth more than a fridge. Khomeini created a new world. The dark Middle Ages were once again a reality. This time not in Europe, but in Iran. My teachers at school were exchanged with imams who were illiterate and even unable to speak an understandable Persian. But they definitely were good at preaching Islam and reciting the Quran. They forced the children to hate the Jews, the infidels, Baha'is, homosexuals, and they made us shout death to the world. We were taught that everything was allowed in the fight against the infidels. We were taught that Islam was God's final message for mankind, the so-called final solution. We were taught that no one can question the Quran since it is God's own words. We were taught that lying, avoiding the truth in the battle against the infidels was a duty. There is no problem in lying publicly if the lie saves or forwards the real cause of the mullahs. This tactic is called taqiyya. Without any scruples, Khomeini thundered forward and banned all other parties which had actually participated in winning the revolution. Democrats, nationalists, communists, all were fair game. Time was turned back 1,000 years. Women were brutally told to cover themselves. Sexual apartheid was a fact. Only the Islamic Party was allowed. There was only one truth, one law, one opinion, only Islam and Islamic laws. Dissident views had no place in this new world. Writers, critics of the regime, actors, artists, cartoonists, musicians, composers, filmmakers, homosexuals, scientists, atheists, Baha'is, yes, everyone who did not live up to the ideal of the only truth were jailed and butchered, executed in cold blood. The most lucky were able to escape, and for that reason there are approximately around 5 million Iranian refugees around the world. Every night my whole family was gathered around the sacred thing, that's the radio. The only breathing hope, the only spark of light in the lives of million Iranians. Risking our lives, we search for the sound of freedom. The radio, the BBC, the Voice of America. We carefully listened to every single word, every detail, and every slight emphasis on a word. Maybe they sent us secret messages. Maybe codes were hidden in the sentences read by the DJ. Each and every song could be an invitation to join the demonstration. If the DJ on the Voice of America played, let's say, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, believe me, my whole family, and maybe also millions of other Iranian families, would try to read a higher meaning into the song. Maybe the song was a green light for the final uproar against the mullahs. But ladies and gentlemen, nothing happened. Nothing. For what can you do when God has spoken? What is the use of democracy when God the Almighty has already taken the trouble to give answers to all big and small questions in life? What is the use of dialogue? What is the use of freedom of speech? Nothing. The mullahs preached that their main goal was to send the Islamic revolution to the rest of the world. Their goal was, and still is, to destroy Israel completely, to destroy America completely, to destroy democracy in order to build the perfect Islamic government. While we were still in Iran, we were sure that the rest of the world was looking at Iran with tears in their eyes. We were sure that all of mankind, or at least all peoples of the Western world, where democracy and freedom are the pillars and fundaments of society, would come to our rescue.